So when you look back at Minnesota and the progress that you're making, what did you think about that day? And what you worked on since then?
Yeah, so, you get to the last drive of the game, we're up, and we didn't close out the game. So that's kind of what I take from that game. We had a chance to finish, and we didn't. I think we started off with a penalty, kicking it out of bounds, and then we get two penalties within the drive. I don't think they were for lack of discipline, but they were for lack of detail. So you give people 45 yards, you make it hard on yourself. That being said, I think there were some positives in the game. I thought the guys played hard. I thought there were some moments that they created some 3 and outs and got the ball back. So those were all positives. But we're in the business of winning, so we didn't come away with the W. You go in, you look, at the first bye week. We had really 4 games, and then after the second bye week, you have 5. So we looked at those 5 and looked at things we were doing well, things we weren't doing well, areas we improved, areas we need to improve, and then you kind of go into the bye week, and then you obviously get a little bit of bonus time on the team that you're playing, which we're happy to take and have. And so now we're in game week. So that was kind of how it was for us. I thought the guys did a good job. We get a chance to rest up a little bit, but also get some good work in. So.
How I don't know if maybe impressed is the right word. It seems like the fight and the will has still been there, even if times have gotten tough. How has that happened, and then what's going to be your reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the reality is I think if you have the right people, like that's really not a concern. So I think we have a bunch of really good kids who care and play hard and practice hard, and football is important to them. So I think that's the first ingredient. I think the staff has done a good job with how they've coached during the week and have connections with players. I think sometimes when you find situations where, quote unquote, the fight or the effort isn't there, sometimes there's a disconnect in relationships between players and staff, player to player, staff to staff. And so I think we've got good connections there. So I think that's why the guys have been energized.
With the sideline, like as a coach, how does that change sort of your tendencies or how you approach your job when you move from the box to the sideline? Like what looks different?
Yeah, well, I think, when you're in the box, it's easier to call a game. It's why? Because you're removed, you have better vision, you can think, you got your stuff in front of you. You get down on the sideline, your view's not quite as good. There's the emotion of the game. So I think there's the calling of the game is a little bit different. Now, I've done this for a while, so I think obviously I do it better now than I did when I was 24, 25, the first time I did it. So, coming down, I think gives a little bit more of an opportunity to be around the guys more. And so I think that's the trade-off, and I think that's the thing that I like about it is being around the guys, being able to kind of connect the group. I feed off them and kind of get their energy a little bit, which is a cool thing. So I think it's been positive. It's been good. I've enjoyed it. So
with just defense overall, I think it's 9 minutes to go in the second quarter against Minnesota until the final 30 seconds where you guys can allow the point.
Yeah.
How much of that is something you can build on and carry into next week?
Yeah, I mean, after every game, here's the way I can look at it. Like, there's going to be, whether we win, whether we lose, there's always positives and there's always negatives, right? So our kind of, how we look at post-game is always the same. Like, hey, what are the things we did well? Hey, what are the things we didn't do well? Let's build on and then let's correct. I would like to think over the last couple of weeks there's been improvement from the group. I feel that way. Hopefully everyone feels that way. Now, why is that? Well, there's a multiple of reasons. And so then you just kind of continue to build and press on those buttons, hopefully, that are kind of helping you improve. So, I think that's what you kind of draw from it.
With Penn State, since they've changed quarterbacks any differently, are you kind of just locked in on these 3 starts, whatever he's had, or do you go back all the way to September? Are they much different with him? Or
we look at the whole season.
Okay.
I think you have to, but then I think you also draw a line where the change happened, and then you look at hey, is there many differences between before and after? I think the quarterback has improved every week. I think last week was by far his best showing. I think in the second half they opened it up and pushed the ball down the field with success against a really good defense. So our anticipation is this thing's going to be open, the playbook's open, they're going to push it down the field, and so that's kind of what we're prepping for.
What do you also see from the running back duo, because they've been doing it, Singleton and Allen have both been carving things up for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I would say they're probably the best 1-2 punch in the country. I think they've got speed, vision, they've got size, they break tackles, they get in the open field, they're gonna run. So they're a major concern. They have some really good playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and I think you look at they've lost a bunch of one-score games. They've lost 4 ranked opponents, 3 in the top 5 when they played them. So they're a talented team, and they're a good team. And I thought they obviously they gave Indiana everything they could handle last week. So.
What do you think of the Land Grant Trophy? Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I've seen a picture of it. It looks big. I obviously have, like I said, haven't seen it in person. So, hopefully we can do what we need to see in person. So.
What has it been, 63 pounds?
It's heavy.
Yeah.
Well,
If there's a
I
weight,
certainly would need some help picking it up if it weighs that much. So.
Pass defense, you've seen assignment adherence or assignment errors, fewer of those as the season's gone along, I imagine, and your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think it's a compound effect of continuing to do the same thing and get reps at the same thing over and over again. Probably recognized after our execution, 4 games, I'm saying that the execution wasn't where it needed to be. So since that time, we made a concerted effort to keep things as concise as possible. And then you're not just going to snap your fingers and magically from one week to the next for it to make improvement. It's going to be a gradual improvement over the course of time if you stay on that track. And we have. So I think we've obviously gotten ourselves to the point where we've improved. And so we need to keep that going here through the last 3. Again, we're going to expect this ball to get in the air this week. And kind of we're really zeroing in on what the second half of last week was and what we're expecting to get. So we're going to have to play really good pass defense.
Feels like King West has played more and more as the weeks have progressed. What are you seeing out of him?
Execution, see him tackling and being physical, see him not having the moment be too big. He's made some plays. He's got beat too. He got beat a couple times at Indiana. And so, I like to see what happens when a guy gets beat. How do they handle it? He handles it well. It's not tolerated, but he handles it well. I'll give you an example of a guy who used to coach, Justin Wally, who was a 4th-round draft pick last year, I think for the Colts. And he started as a freshman for us. We were playing Purdue, and he got beat twice. And Purdue at that point had the guy who's with the Raiders now, a quarterback, and they had an NFL 1st or 2nd round receiver. And when he got beat, he handled it the right way. He didn't make excuses. He said, I'm going to be better. And that's kind of how Aiden is. When he's made mistakes, it's hey, he's disappointed, he's upset, it hurts, but he's not demoralized. And then he's not an excuse maker. So he's going to say, hey, I own it, my mistake, here's what I'm going to learn from. And when you have that type of attitude and ability, which he does, then over the course of time, you get really good. And he's on the road to getting and being really good. And we'll see how that goes and how quickly he gets there, but he's certainly on the road. So he's been good for us.
When did he start to show that, I guess? Did you know that when he came before he came to campus December, early signing period, did you know he had those traits, or is that something you have to sort of see a guy get on the field, practice, and really get into swinging?
So I think we saw some ability when he first got here and saw some of those traits. Then he had a setback because he was injured. And so he was out the majority of spring and then really wasn't a full go guy until I think the 2nd week of camp. So there's that element of it, right? But then there's the element of actually seeing the guy in the game. Because it's one thing to go and practice well, it's another thing to go scrimmage well. It's a whole nother game and then a whole other thing to be in a stadium and play. And so you kind of have to see it all. But we've been pleased with the progress.
When you look at your seniors, it's kind of a mixed bag. You got a Snow and Malik who've been here. You got Q who's been here for both years. You guys, and guys like Josh or whatever who just came in this year.
Yeah.
Just what do you think about your seniors that will be playing their last game out there?
Yeah, I think obviously football's different now, right? So you're going to get an influx of guys every year. Some of them are in their last year, and as a coach, I think you got to have the ability to connect with guys and develop relationships. So that's one piece of it. The guys who've kind of been here, those guys, obviously, just for the fans and then for them, it might be a little more because you've been connected to one school for the duration of your career, and so some of those guys that have been here multiple years. They've been really hard workers. They've been guys that have given a lot to the program. They've seen some really good times. They've seen some not so good times, and they've continued to respond and play and practice. And I think they're guys that our fans should be proud of, because I certainly am. So.
Thanks, Coach. Last one? You got one more?
It's not that important. I just think there's some interesting, I guess, sort of coaching points, like when they do some things like motioning a tackle from the slot into the box, or just some of the weird things.
They do some weird stuff.
I've seen.
I haven't noticed. We
that?
really haven't been preparing for much of that stuff.
There's some weird teaching points. I mean, you don't probably coach against that type of stuff very often.
Here's what I would tell you. So, in training camp, right, we have alignment assignment periods. Okay, and when we do those alignment assignment periods, we basically throw every trickum adjustment type thing that people do. Okay, because what we'll do is we'll put all those into periods so that we rep them in training camp, because they're unique. These guys do every single one of those things. So what they do is every single thing that we would kind of take throughout the course of a season and say, hey, these are the things we're going to see. They do them all. So we better be on our toes.
Where'd you get that from? If you like that idea of
I got it just through trial and error, and then necessity being the mother of all invention, right? So we're at the University of Maine, and we had a young defense, and we were making mistakes in practice. So what we started doing was making competitive alignment and assignment periods, where it was like the ones versus the twos. We put all these crazy looks in. We'd have the defense turn their backs. We'd have the offense sprint to the line, blow the whistle, turn around, make the check, make the adjustment. And it was kind of like the gladiators, where we ever give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay, and we kind of kept track of it. And I thought it was a good way to get the defense ready for a season. And so we've kind of done that to varying degrees over the years. So, but yeah, they do a ton. And at different looks, and it's really hard on the defense. That's why they do it. They don't do it because it's easy. They do it because it's hard. And I got a lot of respect for their staff, their coordinator. They're innovative. They do a really good job. So we got to be on our toes.
So when you're doing those, practicing months and months ago, you're taking the entire nation, what the entire nation does formation-wise, or what's on your schedule?
Yeah, both. So there are things defensively. I have this checklist of quote unquote, oddities, right? And you can kind of put them into different categories. And so there's only so many categories that you can kind of go into. So we just make sure that we're hitting all those categories in preseason camp. But we also in preseason camp are looking at the course of the schedule to see if there's anything that anyone does that's unique. Because the last thing you want to do is be teaching something in game week. And so it's like the triple option. If you try to prepare for the triple option in the game week, you might as well just put 30 points on the board to start the game, because they're going to move the ball up and down the field on you. So we kind of try to do that throughout the course of the season.
Have you coached against him, Kotelnicki?
No.
I know he was at Kansas. I don't know if we can say.
No, D3 guy though. So respect there for that. So.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jay.